Hi everyone, this video is on multiplying fractions with a number line. Now when we hear the word fractions, for some reason it's a scary concept. So I decided to use one of my favorite things for you to understand and be a little bit more comfortable with fractions. So I decided to use chocolate. I love chocolate, and one of my favorite chocolate bars is Kit Kat. So when we think about fractions, let's start thinking about something that we like and enjoy. So if I had a Kit Kat bar and I wanted to share it with 4 friends, it would be pretty easy for me to share this Kit Kat bar. And when we use the number line, you'll see how easy it is to share this Kit Kat bar. I would divide my number line into 4 equal sections, and I would name them 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. And the reason I would have my denominator be a fourth is because I have 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And each of these pieces represented 1/4. So it would be pretty easy. And then the whole entire bar would represent 4/4, which is our giant 1. Let's not ever forget that giant 1. So each of my friends would get 1/4 of my Kit Kat bar. So pretty cool, right? But then my question became this, you guys. How about if I didn't have a full Kit Kat bar to share? Instead, I had only one of the little bars, and I had to share that guy with a couple of friends. Well, the same concept applies with fractions. My whole would be this guy, and then of course, as you can tell, I can divide it into equal parts depending if I like you as one of my friends or I wanted to give you a smaller piece. So it's pretty easy to decide how to do this. However, let's pretend, for the sake of multiplying fractions, that I didn't have a whole Kit Kat bar or this one right here, and all I had was this little part right here, and I had to share that little tiny part. So then this is where it becomes where we're going to multiply fractions, because now, as you can tell, I only have part of the whole, and that part of the whole needs to be divided into smaller parts, creating what we know as part of a part. So when we have part of a part, then that's when we start multiplying by fractions. So let's go ahead and try to explain this with a math problem. Let's pretend that my fraction looked like this, and I had 2/3 times 3/4. So let's describe this using the chocolate bar analogy. Let's pretend that my Kit Kat bar is represented by this. The 3/4 would represent that I did not get the whole entire bar, I only got 3/4 of the bar. That's this guy. Well, my friend came along, and I have to give my friend 2/3 of that 3/4 piece that I got. That's the part to part that we are doing when we're multiplying fractions. So let's go ahead and draw a number line. And remember, number lines are our best friends because that's the model that we understand. And what I want you to do is I want you to break down this number line using the 3/4. We have nothing else. Let's just pretend that we had 3/4. So we're going to break that number line and identify 3/4. So I know that this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and of course my 4/4 to make my whole. Now the problem is telling me I just want 3/4 of it. So the 3/4 is identified by this red line all the way till we get to 3/4. And on your problems, I would recommend for you to do the following. So what we did right now is we identified what we have, which was the 3/4. That's how much we have. But remember, we want to give our friend 2/3 of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to divvy up that 3/4 by 2/3. And the way we do it is we look at the denominator here, and we're going to cut every fourth into 3 equal parts. So we're going to go ahead and do this. 1/3, 2/3, and this guy represents the 3/3. We're going to do the same thing for the second section. We're going to go 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Continue this process, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, until the very end, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Once you've done that, you've actually cut the chocolate or the number line into equal parts. That way your friend gets the 2/3 of your 3/4. Remember that the multiplication sign means of. So here we go. Watch. Equal parts. So now I get to count how many equal parts did I cut my chocolate bar into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I cut it into 12 equal parts. And I can check my work because I know that 3 times 4 equals 12. Now, let's do the top. I want 2/3 of every 3/4. So this is the way you're going to do it. You're going to color in 2/3. That's 1/3. That's 2/3. If you need to label these, that's fine. I'm going to do the same thing. 1/3, 2/3. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. 1/3, 2/3. And I'm going to stop here because that's where my marker's at. Remember I told you to put that marker on 3/4? Once you do that, you're going to count what you colored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's your numerator. So 2 times 3 equals 6. Which, you're right, we can simplify this. But the reason I showed you how to do this problem with a number line is because you need to understand what this means. 2/3 of 3/4. You have to understand that we are taking a part of a part. And what better model to use than a number line to understand that we had a part of a whole, but we wanted even a smaller part of that part, which is represented by the 2/3 here. Now use the worksheet to do a couple of problems on your own. Who knows, maybe teach your parents how to do it. Thanks a lot.